You probably have to help me on the years because I can't even remember exact dates on this thing. When your mother first started having problems, she was with a group of ladies and went out to this place to eat, and she had to go to the bathroom. Of course, it was just ladies. She had to go to the bathroom, and she didn't come back. So somebody went after her, and she was sitting there, but she couldn't do anything. I don't know. Of course, nobody knew what was going on.
Louder.
They tried to contact me. I was gone temporarily.
I don't know this story.
Don't you?
No.
Oh.
So cool.
Well, I'll see how good I am at recalling this. But anyway, then somebody did finally get me. They passed me on the road, really. And my memory is really not too good on this thing. But anyway, we got her to the hospital. Took her to the hospital. And they ran some tests, and they said they thought it was
The gallbladder? Or
the gallbladder. That's
Yes.
right. Thought it was the gallbladder. And I think this was,
before Christmas.
yeah, it was just before Christmas, and she did not want to be putting up with whatever this was, you know.
See,
over
the
holidays.
last time you came to visit us, she was having back problems and stuff like that. That was on my 40th birthday. You came to see me, and that was the last time she was able to come. And that was October 5th. I was born in 52, 40 years old, 92 on my birthday. So then,
10 years ago.
yeah. Yes. Wow. Is that right?
Probably.
Yes. Okay. And then I knew she had, it was before Christmas, and she was, you know, having that gallbladder, and that, I remember her saying that was one of the worst surgeries or worst things she'd ever gone through, was that gallbladder pain. And she had it removed, right?
And she said she wanted to get that done before she went home.
Get it
She
take,
didn't get the operation because she didn't want to put up with that. You know. And so, I mean, this was like 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, or Friday afternoon, or something like that.
Mhm.
So they somehow managed to get all the doctors and the hospital, everybody that was involved in that and would be involved in the surgery.
Mhm.
They got everything cleared out so she could have her surgery. And after that, she had pneumonia for a while. I can't remember which came first on this, but she was in the hospital with pneumonia for about 10 days, I think, which is a pretty long time
That is.
to be in the hospital.
That is.
And then it was not too long after that that the doctor talked to us about this protein, some protein that we didn't understand.
Her blood work,
Or,
in her blood work.
yeah. But he said, and even though I'm not getting it maybe in the right sequence, he said, you know, this is treatable, whatever she had, it's very treatable. So we took that as a comforting thing, you know, that
Mhm.
even though it was a problem, it was treatable.
Mhm.
And those were his words.
Mhm.
Well, when she was in the hospital after that, two of his cohorts, in fact, their husband and wife, both internists, were doing rounds on patients. And I think it was the woman at first that actually told us what this was,
Mhm.
and that it was incurable.
Multiple myeloma.
Multiple myeloma. I never could figure out this doctor telling us that.
It was
when
curable.
there's no cure, but treatable. You can treat anything. You know.
Right.
You could say, well, sure, you can. It is treatable. It's just not curable.
Oh,
It makes quite a difference, you know.
oh
And
yes.
that was the first that we found out really what it was all about.
Mhm.
and it was right within, she really
Oh, yes.
very slowly. I mean, we were glad that they told us. I mean, we didn't want them to tell us, but we wanted them to tell us,
You wanted to know.
That, it was then that we called everybody in the family and told them about it. Very difficult time. So,
She chose not to get treatment since it was incurable.
yeah, she decided that, I mean, if she was cured, she wanted God to get the credit for it, not man. And she was very unusual, a very unusual woman. I would not have done that, I'm sure.
No, but I know I have two other friends that both their fathers had multiple myeloma, and they did all the treatment. They did the chemotherapy, they did the transplant, what is that, the
Marrow?
bone marrow transplant several times. They went through all of it. It may have prolonged their life a little, but not much. It is incurable. But she did suffer a lot with it. She lost at least 3 or 4 inches in height because it was in her bone.
Yeah, it's a pretty awful sight, really.
And it was over 2 years. Was it over 2 years that she?
Around that.
Right around 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very sad time.
Yes, it was. Yes.
But
Very difficult for you to have to go through.
very difficult.
Thankfully, you didn't live too far away, so we could go and help you and be there as much as we
See,
could.
you and David were there, but this one weekend, and I think I have this straight, one weekend, it was on a Friday evening, and she was sitting on the potty next to her bed there, and she went out,
I was there.
But you were there that weekend, but not that night. I mean, I had to call in the ambulance.
Okay.
The ambulance to come and get her.
Okay. I was there one of the times when she had pneumonia, and we couldn't get her off, and we had to call the ambulance.
I think maybe there were 3 times I had to call the ambulance. One of them when we were out at the mall eating breakfast,
Oh.
and one time was this evening, this Friday evening, when she just was out, gone. I mean,
Uh-huh.
no response to anything. Had to call the ambulance. And it was you and David that came that weekend. I'm positive. You and David were there. By Sunday, she was doing pretty well.
Yes, I mean, I got her menu. She wanted to know what she wanted to order from the hospital menu. We got all that taken care of. I did her hair for her and did all that, and she was better Sunday, so we went home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was end of November or December of '94?
Yeah, I think
Would have
so.
been? Okay.
I have a pretty bad memory.
So do I.
But then David came back.
Well, you
That
told me,
following-
I've been calling and you told me she was worse. And so I called David and said, I'm further away. I can't get there as soon as you can. You need to get there. And I was going to come, I think it was that evening or something, the next day, or, I was going to be able to come then. And it was too late.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't remember that you had talked to David about that, but I was very happy that he was there.
I was very glad too. Yeah, I was very glad because, when I found out how bad she was, I called at the hospital. And that's when I knew, he was only an hour away or something, and, I thought, he needed to get there. And that was...
The nurses were so special. This one nurse was so
I remember.
apologetic that she had been called to take somebody to Peoria, as needed some special care in Peoria. And she went with the ambulance to Peoria, and while she was gone, your mother died. She came to the visitation.
I remember you bought Fannie Mae chocolates for them because they were so nice. That was that December 8th?
I have to look on the
94.
calendar. I can't.
I think so. But there was something with Kmart, and you were going to tell a story about what happened at Kmart earlier.
I went to Kmart to get some. I think I was getting something done with the tires. I'm not real sure now.
I vaguely remember this.
And so while I was at Kmart, they told me I needed tires. Maybe I was just getting an oil change. I'm not sure what it was, but anyways, I needed tires. So they had the thing jacked up on the lift, and they were working on it when I got this call from your mother saying I had to get there because she was in bad shape.
She had trouble breathing. She was on oxygen.
Yes, she was on oxygen quite a while.
Yes.
So I talked to the manager there, and I said, I got to get home and get my wife. And my car is here. What can we do? He said, well, I'll take you. So we got in his old car and drove there. And I got to the house, and I didn't have any keys.
But the garage door opener was in the car. Oh.
So were the keys.
Oh.
The keys were in the car. And I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what? That window in the bedroom was unlocked.
You climbed through the window to her.
I climbed through the window.
But her bed was right in front of the window, wasn't it?
I know it. I
Yes.
had to crawl over.
Oh my goodness.
But what an experience that was. I couldn't believe it. Anything. Every time I turned around, I was bumping into a wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was a very difficult time.
Yes.
And then we already talked about the time in the hospital, I guess. About her wheeling her down the aisle in front of me.
Well, that was the same weekend that David and I came before
I think so.
he passed away.
They
Because you
called me up early in the morning at around
Yes.
maybe quarter to
Okay, I do
7 and
remember
said,
that.
you better get here as fast as you can. So I did. And as I was going up from the first floor, the elevator stopped on the second floor. This was where her room had been. And they wheeled the bed into the
Elevator.
And I realized that it was your mother. And I think there were 4 or 5 people around her, and
Did you tell them?
huh?
Did you tell them that
Oh,
was
I'm sure I did.
Yes.
I can't remember it. I mean, this is, couldn't take it all in, really,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm sure.
And then at the 5th floor, when I got to the intensive care, they left, and all of them running on 2 or 3 on each side of the bed, running down the aisle. And I just stood there, couldn't believe it. But she got over that hurdle temporarily. It was very temporary.
Until she finally
Some
went.
experiences that.
And she's home, and she's in peace, and she's out of pain, and so then I got there, and Mark, my husband Mark Melton, he ended up doing the funeral, and it was very special to have him.
It really was.
We had a lot of family come, and Aunt Dorothy suggested that the tape of you and Mom singing together should be played, and that was wonderful, just wonderful to hear.
I guess I didn't know that she suggested that.
Well, yeah, because we couldn't find a solo. We were trying to figure out who could sing, and the friends that you were going to have couldn't because one had a cold or something.
I don't remember.
And it was like, well, we were listening to you guys sing, and we're like, well, I guess we could play these, these songs that she liked, and we'll play these if you guys sing them. So we
Yeah,
did.
they happened to be on two different tapes, I think, but we played one right after the other.
Uh-huh.
David, I think, took care of playing the tapes,
Oh, good, okay.
and it really worked out perfectly. Bernard Hebber next door
Mm-hmm.
said, and I probably told you this before, but he said, she was the most beautiful corpse.
She was beautiful.
She was.
She was so beautiful.
Incredible.
And that dress that I always liked on her, what she had she got when she was sick, and she said, she was well, she was going to wear this dress. But she said that, if she, grew out of it or something, I could have it. Well, she was well, she was healed, she was in heaven, so that's the dress we had her wear, and it was beautiful.
I don't even remember